effortless scale, improving documentation workflows with AI and inter-team collaboration. The resource person this morning is Puneet Arora. We have another Puneet in the house, and he's the CEO for Alkaline and founder also. It's an AI-based platform that creates and maintains high-quality docs effortlessly. Previously, he spent 8 years at Atlassian, building team workflow solutions and leading engineering for Confluence AI. Puneet, I'm sure you're here and ready to kickstart this morning. So all over to you, Puneet. You ready? You can. It's all yours. The platform is all yours.
I guess you can hear me.
Yes, Puneet, very much loud and clear.
How about now? Better?
Yep, very much.
Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and get started. Give me 1 second. I will have to rejoin.
Yeah, Puneet, take your time. We'll wait for you. Folks, just bear with us for a minute while Puneet rejoins and reconnects. Yes, Puneet is back.
Yes, this is exactly why we did the dry run.
Absolutely.
But I guess things just don't work out perfectly ever.
Yeah, there's always a slip between the cup and the lid. So true to say.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
It's all over to you. Go ahead.
Cool. Let's try this now. So hopefully you all can see my presentation. Yes? A quick signal?
Yes,
great. Cool. So hi, I'm Puneet Arora, and I'm not a technical writer. So why am I here? Before starting and founding Aircline, I was a product and engineering leader at Atlassian. I spent about 8 years growing and leading Confluence AI. I cannot tell how to write better, but I have created a lot of processes and workflows. I have optimized them and made them scalable. I've influenced and inspired and brought change in organizations. And that's what I'm here to share today. In order to build Aircline, I did over 200 interviews with technical writers, spanning over 150 organizations, from Salesforce and Googles of the world to consulting companies and freelancers. In today's talk, I will share the insights that I have gained over the years and my experience in bringing change. That brings us to the topic. Improving documentation workflow with AI and inter-team collaboration. Let's look at the docs process. Here is an oversimplified version of it. PMs and engineers make changes to the product and they hand them over to technical writers. Writers do the magic, and voila, we have documentation. We all wish it was this easy, right? Here is a little more realistic, yet simplified life cycle. PMs and engineers create artifacts, product requirements, milestones, release notes. Engineers create technical specs. Then technical writers come in. They conduct meetings, gather all this information through Slack threads, conference pages, decipher all of it. Then they create the first draft, which undergoes reviews, again with PMs and engineers for accuracy and correctness, peers for language and information architecture. Finally, the doc gets published. Your users use it, your support engineers share it, and then if you have a good practice, you collect analytics and monitor them. Any show of hands who all collect analytics and monitor them? For all others, hopefully you start thinking about them after this talk. Coming back to this is all nice, hunky-dory. The problem happens when this turns into this, and then this, and then before we know it, this. In the US, there are 66 engineers to 1 technical writer. People creating the input, that is product changes, new ideas, features are increasing by the day. People creating the output are constrained. Story of a technical writer's life, right? But this is not new in the industry. This exists for design, support, DevOps, HR, and almost all other supporting functions in the software industry. So now, how do we solve it? We solve it by empowering teams. Have them share the responsibility to create and maintain docs. Allow them to self-serve for simpler tasks like minor updates or reusing the content. Set guardrails for them using templates or automation style guides. Finally, provide them feedback. This is what this talk will be about. How to do this for documentation. We will explore options and tools using AI, other traditional methods that can support this contribution model for teams. Let's dive in. First is data gathering. PMs and engineers create multiple artifacts, which are then gathered by technical writers using Zoom meetings, Slack threads, or Confluence scavenger hunts. On average, we spend about 5 to 8 hours at least on it. For this, multiple companies have created a process to take in documentation requests in a structured format. They nudge the teams to create requests using Google Forms or Jira tickets. Which contain a template that will help you gather all the data you need. It contains fields like what features have you built? What is the goal of this feature? What does the release plan look like? What are the links to the product requirements docs or the Jira epics? You get the idea. You can customize the template that fits your domain and your organization. Identify what information you look for and create a template around it. You could even use Jira Forms for it. At Eckline, we're building a way to easily gather this information and create a corpus of documents and knowledge that could be used by AI or future references. Next is creating first drafts. Using the information we gathered, with the advancements in AI, creating first drafts is simplified. It is not perfect, but simplified. You could have PMs and engineers use a template from Confluence or the Good Docs project, or even create a custom one. Having a template will not only avoid the blank page problem, but also you will be able to get decent results from AI. Here is a quick demo from my client. Here, we utilize built-in templates, which you could customize and create a consistent, high-quality first draft using pre-configured knowledge bases. Here is a future Jira integration that takes input from Jira tickets and recommends first drafts in GitHub pull requests. Next, we look at reviews. This is where I believe most of the time is spent. We have reviews for accuracy and correctness of the documentation, currently done by PMs or engineers. Maybe code validations as well done by engineers. Then we have language and writing guidelines by peers. The review process is critical. It upholds the quality bar for your organization, likely the most time-consuming part as well. Let's look at what options we have for it. Accuracy and correctness. Here, you look for correctness of instructions, examples and screenshots. You ensure the flow of the procedure is correct and the explanations. You also check for deep links to the product. For this, you could support some of these checks using Eckline, but there are also open source tools like Lychee and Markdown for link checking, which helps ensure links are correct, like Docs Detective for testing procedures, or a custom tool chain that you might write using Cypress or Selenium to get screenshots. Next, for code formatting and validations, we need to ensure that code samples are formatted consistently. It makes it easier to read. The API specs are valid and contain all the limits that are needed by developers to utilize the APIs properly. Lastly, the correctness and accuracy of the code. There are a bunch of tools available to us in open source and proprietary information. Spectral and Vacuum for API, and Prettier and ESLint for formatting. Next, language and writing styles. Ensure that consistent branding and terminology is used in all your content. It uses inclusive language and correct grammar and spellings. Again, a bunch of open source and proprietary options. Now let me show you how does Eckline bring all this together. At Eckline, we understand the importance to support technical writers, PMs, and engineers when they are creating documentation. Providing support to the team right in their workflow and authoring tools is critical. Therefore, we created our VS Code extension. It not only highlights issues, but it also provides suggestions, even for complex improvements, like readability scores and reducing line lengths. Here, with one command, Eckline is going through each issue and resolving it. For PMs and engineers, the workflow starts in Google Docs or Confluence. For them, we're working on the browser extension, providing them the same rules in Google Docs and Confluence through the browser. Last but not the least, We also integrate into CI/CD like GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket to ensure nothing is missed and you can take contributions from your team a lot more confidently. All this at every step of the workflow. We also make it easy for technical writers and managers to customize and optimize the rules they want to enforce using the Eggcline UI. Here is a quick walkthrough of the dashboard. You can easily choose the rules you want to follow. You can update the terminology and the dictionary terms. Or enable broken links checks or email checks. Not only that, we also provide you analytics so that you can monitor overtime improvements to your doc's quality. That's a lot, but it's not over yet. Next, you publish the document. Your users and support engineers use it and share it. Great, magical things happen. But why? Why should PMs and engineers contribute? Why should stakeholders fund this initiative? Why should they give you time, money, and people to do all this? What do they care about? Business and its KPIs, key performance indicators. How does this help the user journey? How does this reduce support costs? Reduce customer acquisition costs? Reduce user churn? And increase user satisfaction? This is critical, and I often find missed in the technical writing journey. This is the only reason your PMs and engineers will take on the shared responsibility. They will fill out the Jira forms. They will provide you better first drafts. They need to see the impact of their work. This is where you could help. The last step is to monitor, analyze, and provide feedback. There are all different kinds of analytics you could do. You could look at the user journey using tools like Google Analytics or Hotjar. Usefulness metrics, if you're tracking, like thumbs up, thumbs down. Search queries, and nowadays, AI questions that people ask to the chatbots. You should analyze support tickets, GitHub issues, or community questions asked. What you are looking for is insights and knowledge about the user journey. What are your users looking for? How can you improve the documentation to deflect more support tickets? What other content or documentation your product teams and organizations should create? Taking these insights back to your teams and sharing with them how their work impacts the business KPIs and the user journey will help. This will become their motivation. This will complete the cycle of feedback. That said, all that is easier said than done. Bringing a change to an organization is not easy. It is also not unheard of. Right set of motivation can bring the change. Thank you. Please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or email. I'm happy to spot ideas, share my experiences. Also happy to put you in touch with the industry experts who are advisors to Eckline as well. Happy to take questions.
Yes, Puneet, we do have time to take some cues, and in fact, we have one already. Would like to encourage the other folks. Please take this time to share your questions, clear your doubts. This is the time where we learn. Okay, to begin with, we have the first question from Ridula, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, and she'd like to know. I would like to know to what extent we need the involvement of engineers to set up the system and maintain it.
I'm guessing, and I'm assuming that you're talking about Eckline. In order to use Eckline, I could probably take a moment and maybe elaborate. Eckline stands for all the people who know Hindi, Ek just stands for one, and it's actually one line. It's actually Eckline. The Indian in me wanted to keep it something that I remember. So the ethos of Eckline is actually the simplicity to implement. That is what we are focusing on. With Eckline, the involvement of engineers is going to be very, very minimal. It's going to be installing some apps that are going to be a couple of button clicks. And a lot of the configuration and a lot of the heavy lifting is taken by the platform. But yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Puneet. That was helpful.
Cool.
Okay, we have a second question from Runalini. What AI tools can be used with? Sorry, can be used specifically for specifically with Confluence?
That brings back so many memories. I feel like I can probably talk for days about Confluence and AI. That's what I did for the last 5 years. So at Eckline, one of the things that we are building for the browser extension, it currently works on Google Docs, but that's on our roadmap. We are working on it to actually have it work on Confluence as well. Other AI tools that you can potentially use is Confluence itself. My org spent about 4 years building AI in it. Atlassian has recently launched its own AI agentic workflow tool called Robo. I've heard great things about it. I haven't tried it. I would say give it a try, and I'm all ears. I bet the Atlassian marketplace as well has a bunch of add-ons that are coming and popping up for AI. You could give them a try as well.
Yes, we have a few more cues, Puneet. Bear with us. And well, I think Balu has something to ask about Eckline. Does Eckline now come as an extension which makes it compatible also for a CMS rather than just docs as code?
Again, I'm going to make an assumption. I'm guessing that the CMS might be something browser-based that people use. So yes, it is on a roadmap to actually support CMSs like Contentful and others that are all going to be integrated through the browser extension. So the same rules, the same quality, the same high bar that you want to hold that you once configure in Eckline, they will all be available across the 3 different aspects of the user journey, either in VS Code or in CI/CD or through the browser extension for all your browser-based editor or authoring tools.
Right. We'll move ahead with the next one. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Minal who says, what AI tools can we use with Jira to come up with the first draft of content?
Oh, that's a good one. I bet Eckline is one of them.
That's a good one.
But and I recently popped up. So there are actually a couple of tools, again built by Atlassian founders. There is a tool that they're focusing on release notes. Look for released.io or release.com. I'm happy to find their website and share it with you. It's also built by an ex-Atlassian. That's how I know about it.
Okay. Yeah, a few more coming your way. We move on to the next, which is Michael, which says, they say, what is the cost factor, please? Is it subscription based or one time?
It is going to be subscription based. Right now, we are still a very early stage company. So we are taking in very selective design partners and pilot programs. So it is going to be subscription based. And if you're interested, soon we are actually hoping to release it and come out of the waitlist and release it to public so that you'll be able to sign up and start utilizing it. My hope is if all goes well, the new year should be when it's actually public and open to all. But if you're interested in a demo or in getting access, please feel free to reach out to me.
I'm sure they will, Puneet. And yeah, we have Kunal's question. Is there any existing Eggland versus code extension?
Yes, we have the VS Code extension. It's also hosted on the VS Code marketplace. You could go and search for Eckline, or the website eckline.io should also be able to provide you.
All right. The next question, don't see a name here, so bear with me. Does Eggline support mapping flow diagrams with the input we give? Do we have to pay to access the tool?
I guess these are two separate questions. First one, mapping flow diagrams with the input. Not right now. It doesn't. Yeah. Do we have to pay to access tool? There is a free trial for 1 month, which comes at no cost, and you could access tool. But yes, post that, it's not open source.
Okay,
Oh, that said, we do have an open source program. If you are building for an open source community, like the Good Docs project, we are one of the partners with the Good Docs project. They get the tool for free. So this is one thing that our client will probably continue to support. If there are open source tools that you're working on, that you're building, and you want to utilize Eckline, it will be free forever for those open source tools.
Just a few more, Puneet, bear with us once again.
Sure.
A lot of queues coming in, and this is a real engaging crowd, and we are also loving it. Keep up the momentum, folks. Really good. So Raj has does Eckline ingest our style guides and model draft content based on it?
Yes, that is exactly what we do. So at the time of onboarding, you could provide us the style guides, and that's all what the system takes care of. We go ahead and model the rules that you like to follow that you have provided in the style guides. We will also be able to select style guides from Microsoft or Google's if you don't want to customize them, by yourself, if you don't feel comfortable with that. We also look at the existing content and pull out existing templates that are being used. which at times works well, at times doesn't work well if your content is not organized. But yes, we do gather that style and how you like to write or how-to guides and stuff like those, and the content is generated according to that.
Yeah. So, all right. We also have Tony Xavier. I think he's got 2 Qs, so we'll take the first. Quick question about a client's compatibility with existing CMS. Will a client provide APIs or plugins to connect with data compliance systems?
We are partly compatible with data. So when I say partly compatible, data comes with a lot of structure, and the code organization is a little bit different compared to Markdown or restructured or ASCII doc. So we support all three of them. So data has some partial compatibility. When I say partial, some of the features might not work at the moment. Like say, as far as I know, I think our links checker might not work with data. So yeah, partly compatible.
Okay, the second one, which Tony had, most companies rely on in-house style guides to maintain consistency. Does a client support customizable rules? Will it be able to ingest the style guide rules?
Yes, I probably ran through that Eckline UI super quickly to optimize for time. I could have potentially taken up a little bit more time on that. But yes, we can go ahead and create customized rules. There is also an option to create AI-based rules that are very subjective, where you can have a rule like, I want to have a friendly tone, which is very subjective. And yet you can go ahead and provide that information, and the engine will actually start reviewing based and providing suggestions based on making the content a lot more friendlier. So yes, we can create customized rules, but a lot of the other customizations are going to be a lot more highly accurate and a lot more rule-based.
All right, folks, in the interest of time, we'll have to pause. Okay, okay, right. I guess we have just 3 more. We're not letting you go, Puneet.
No worries. No worries.
All
So
right.
in order
Okay.
to be awake at this time, I just made a cup of coffee for myself. So I'm good.
Thank you so much for taking the time off. And yeah, we'll just bear with us a few more minutes and I'm sure we could let
No
you go.
worries. No worries.
All right, so we just go with the last 3. What outputs can be generated with a client? Kiran.
I could probably use some more context on what do they mean by outputs.
Yeah, so I mean, you can unmute and
Outputs could be like PDF, HTML, things like that, XML.
Oh, I see. Right now we are solely prioritizing Markdown, Docs code. But eventually, Markdown to HTML or XML or PDFs are not a hard thing to solve now.
Okay, we have Ajanta's question. Where can we find the open source tools?
I don't know. I'm happy to give you guys. Oh, slide decks. Will the slide decks be shared with everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. So I feel you'll be able to go back and refer to the slides and look at the open source tools. They are widely available on GitHub. I'm guessing that's where I find them. If you're finding it really hard to know about some open source tool, feel free to ping me.
I think we just have room for one more. Is yeah, I think this seems quite an interesting one, but I'm not sure the name of the person. Okay, so by now most of the organizations have their internal AI tool, and what's the USP for a client that we must look at? That's a good one, by the way.
Yes, yes. The way, let me see how should I answer this question? It's actually not new for organizations to have things internally as well. Like a lot of the organizations have engineers as well in-house, yet they go ahead and buy SaaS software. They go ahead and buy SaaS software because there is a team and an organization just focused on optimizing and creating that niche software that solves their problems much better how they can solve it. And I think that's the USP for any SaaS company, and that's the USP for Eckline. We are focusing very heavily. All our customers' requirements are actually going to come in and get filtered into the product. And I will be really surprised that if maybe it will probably need to be the Google or Amazons of the world that they'll be able to build a massive AI tool, which is going to be much, much better from and provide a lot more customizations and a lot more things. Either they would actually spend massive engineering resources on it, which of course they could and build that. I don't know how many organizations are at the luxury of that.
Okay, I think we have come to the end of the Q&A session. Puneet, thank you so much for taking the time out. A very informative session and a lot of takeaways. Folks, please feel free to connect with Puneet on LinkedIn. He's pretty active on LinkedIn. Even I connected with him. Thanks, Puneet, for that. And yeah, he has his website. So yes, folks, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And this is the platform where we initiate the networking and learning, continuous learning to it. Right. So thank you once again, Puneet. Amazing, very informative. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Puneet. I really appreciate this.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, folks, we just moved into the